Policy.
Thank you. Hey guys, it is fantastic to be with you, and I am going to bring a little difference in the energy tonight, although what you just heard was very, very important. Does stuff like that not leave you sometimes feeling like, well, what in the world can I do?
Right.
You know, this is a failure of leadership, it's a failure of law enforcement, but what can I do? How can I engage to make sure that our state looks different in the future? Our local leadership looks different in the future? And that we have a movement that can provide strong counterattacks to the things that we've seen from Deborah Gonzalez's office and other offices of DAs across this state who refuse to prosecute the law. Haven't you often wondered that?
Yes.
Well, as he said, my name is Taylor Hawkins. I'm the Director of Advocacy for Frontline Policy Council, the state's premier organization for impacting family and Christian values. We stand boldly for family and Christian values at the state level, and we engage across our states to stand for Christ and for what the Bible says is right in policy, politics, and culture. So that means we're at the Capitol lobbying on a huge agenda of conservative victories. We work in elections across this state to elect statesmen who are willing to stand courageously and not just cower in the corner when there's a big political fight. And then we engage in the culture to build a conservative movement that glorifies God and that is engaged. And that's one of the keys is you can't engage without knowledge, but without the motivation to engage, the knowledge is useless. And so we've got a multi-pronged approach that we think has been incredibly successful just over the last couple of years. I'll talk briefly about past victories, current victories, and then I'll get to the conference, which I really want y'all to all be a part of. So past victories, what our organization has done has been incredibly successful. We've been in churches, over a dozen churches in the last year alone, to train over 1,000 believers on what does it mean to engage as a biblical citizen. What does that mean? What does that look like? How do you go about doing that? How do I, what things do I have to know in order to get involved in politics? All of those things, we cover those. And so if you're a church member, by the way, please connect us with your church leader. We would love to host one of those trainings at your church as well. In policy, we have had some incredible victories. The Parents' Bill of Rights a couple of years ago, our organization engaged with the governor's office to get that done in 2022. The same year, we were able to pass a ban on critical race theory in the classroom to prevent taxpayer dollars from going to fund division that'll destroy our country in the future. We also, and I think most importantly, we're the key cog in the wheel of passing the heartbeat bill. Now, we would not have had that without our governor. We have an incredible governor. I'm very proud of what he's done. But my boss, Cole Muzio, without him lobbying in the halls constantly, every minute of every committee hearing to make sure we had the votes and all of that, it would not have happened. And I get to say that because I wasn't around at the time, so I can brag on him. That was in 2019, of course. And then a key factor of that is making sure that law enforcement has the tools to prosecute criminals in our communities. So last year we engaged with Senate leadership to make sure they passed the Prosecuting Attorneys Council Commission, set up that commission to hold woke DAs, people just like Deborah Gonzalez, accountable if they refuse to follow the law and refuse to protect our communities. That is a key piece of our strategy. That was Senate Bill 92 this year. We're happy to endorse Senate Bill 332 to make sure they can get that commission actually up off the ground. So we look forward to that just later this year. Hopefully we'll be able to have the tools to do that so that Deborah Gonzalez will be out of office for the horrible things she's done. I'm grateful to come from, by the way, the Alcovey District. Randy McGinley is my DA, and I'm so proud of the work that he has done to actually prosecute some of those cases and put the bad guys in jail. Current victories, what's moving through the legislature right now, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, to make sure that you have the same protection of your religious freedom as federal prisoners do here in the state of Georgia. Right now, they have more protection for theirs. We also have a number of very key bills moving forward on child protection and human trafficking to make sure that we can, again, empower law enforcement to put the bad guys behind bars. And I just wanted to give you that taste before I announced the conference, because I wanted to give you an idea of our organization is only a couple years old. But God has given my boss, Cole Muzio, an incredible vision for what our state could be, for what the conservative movement could be. I feel like in the last decade, our party and our movement has sort of slidden back into well, we need to do the old things, the things we've always done. We need a new vision. We need a new conservative focus on not just a person. Now, don't get me wrong. Our organization is not anti-Trump, but I do want to throw out something for you to think about. I look forward to supporting him and getting 4 more years of President Donald Trump back in the White House. But you need to consider something. Whoever gets elected this November is a one-term president. And our movement has to start now, laying the groundwork for who's going to be the next president. Who's going to be the next president? Are they going to have our values? Are they going to be able to build and carry forth the torch of the next conservative generation? Are they going to be able to cast a long-term vision for our nation and for our state that looks like our movement and our values? That is a key thing. So we're excited to announce the Run2Win conference. This is based on 1 Corinthians 9:24, which talks about running to win the prize. I've got 50 of these, so not enough for everybody to have one, but I would love for everyone who wants one to take one. And it's got all the details. April 26th and 27th, we're going to be hosting this conference right here in Atlanta to help shape the next generation of conservatism here in our state. We're going to have Kayleigh McEnany is going to be there, Mike Pompeo, Allie Beth Stuckey, Senator Kelly Loeffler from right here in Georgia, Eric Erickson from our own Georgia's own WSB, Katie Faust, who's been a child advocate and just an incredible leader on the child advocacy debate nationwide, really has done incredible things. The only individual who has switched parties as an elected official in the last decade, Misha Maynor, Representative Misha Maynor, will be talking about what made her change, how the Democrat Party left her, and what is reshaping, the Capitol look like around a new vision of conservative values. We've also got Representative Mike Collins and Representative Rich McCormick as well. So right here, you've got representation from this district. I'm excited to have my congressman there as well. And our president, Cole Muzio, this is just what we've got so far. We have so many more conservative thought leaders who are going to be announced, that we're going to be announcing very soon, that are going to join this conference. It's, as I mentioned, it's a time to ignite a transformative movement, to get back to our roots as conservatives and say, okay, what are the values we care about? How do we advocate for those values? And how do we build and shape a movement that will last not just into November, but past November, decades into the future? How do we make sure Georgia, which has become a battleground state, chooses leaders that our grandchildren can be proud of? I think that's a question that we got to take the blinders off sometimes. We got to face that question. This is, without a doubt, the most important election of our lifetime. And people get upset about that. They say, well, I've only been around for a couple election cycles, and I got to tell you guys, it's biblical to say that, because every election is the most important election of our lifetime, because it's the only one that you can impact. And we want to be able to impact this election cycle, but also many more to come. So again, it's the Run2Win conference. Our organization's website, if you're taking notes, is frontlinepolicy.com. The website for this conference is run2win.org. And if you sign up, today, I just want to mention some of our partners, by the way: Greater Georgia, the Heritage Foundation, Alliance Defending Freedom, the American Principles Project, Family Policy Alliance, the Family Research Council, the Human Coalition, Americans for Prosperity. We have got all of the key conservative organizations in our nation are going to be a part of this conference. So again, it's important to keep our eyes on the prize and realize that this election is the most important election of our lifetime, but it's also important to have a vision past this election cycle, to realize that we can't just build on the personalities that we face in November. We have to build a movement for the future. So run2win.org. If you have any more questions about it, I'll be at the back table. I'll also have some of my business cards. Our organization, as I said, I'm so proud to be a member of Frontline Policy Coalition, Frontline Policy Council's leadership team, and be able to shape the vision for Georgia and the next generation. If you have any questions, again, I'll be in the back. Would love for each one of you to walk away with one of these flyers so you can join us at the most impactful conference of this election cycle. Again, my name is Taylor Hawkins. Our organization is Frontline Policy Council. Thank you for the opportunity, Gordon. God bless y'all.